All right, so unlocking your potential. It's kind of a big topic, right? I mean, we all have those moments where we think, hey, there's got to be more to life than this. Like a better version of ourselves just waiting to break free.
Yeah, I think that's a really common feeling, actually. It's like we sort of instinctively know that we're capable of more.
Totally. But before we even get to that unlocking part, I think it's important to figure out, well, what does potential even mean? I mean, it's different for everyone, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's really not about some kind of one-size-fits-all definition of success or achievement. It's about understanding what makes you, well, you. What are your values? What are you passionate about?
Yeah, what are those things that light you up?
Exactly. And what are your skills, your strengths? Because all of that comes together to create a sort of unique blueprint, your blueprint for a fulfilling life.
And I'm guessing that blueprint is going to look different for everyone.
Yeah. Of course. For one person, unlocking their potential might mean starting a business. For someone else, it could be about expressing themselves creatively through art, music, writing, whatever. And for another person, it might mean making a difference in their community.
I love that. It's about what truly matters to you, not about comparing yourself to other people.
Exactly. It's about aligning with your authentic self. And once you've got a sense of what that looks like, what your potential really is, then you can start to think about goals, because goals are kind of like a roadmap, to help you get to where you want to be.
Okay, so goal setting. We hear about it all the time, but I think it's easy to get lost in the how-to of it all.
Yeah, I agree. It's more than just writing down a wish list. It's about connecting those goals to your values, to your passions. Because if your goals don't really resonate with what you believe in, it's going to be hard to stay motivated.
It's like choosing a destination for a road trip.
Yeah.
If you're not excited about where you're going, well, this journey's probably not going to be that fun.
Yeah. Exactly. And just like picking a destination, you got to be specific with your goals. Just saying things like, I want to be more successful or I want to be in better shape, that's not really helpful. You need more clarity than that.
So how do we make those goals more concrete then?
Okay, so let's say you love baking, right? And your dream is to open your own bakery someday. Instead of just saying, I want to open a bakery, get specific. He said, within the next 2 years, I want to open a bakery specializing in artisanal breads in my neighborhood.
Ah, I see. So it's specific, it's measurable, it has a timeline.
Exactly. And because you're passionate about baking, it aligns with your values, your interests. It's not just something you feel like you should do, it's something you genuinely want to do.
Yeah, that makes a big difference for sure.
It does. That's the power of setting clear, meaningful goals. It energizes you, it gives you focus, and it helps you prioritize what you need to do. But even the best laid plans aren't going to get you anywhere without, well, action. That's where the rubber meets the road, as they say.
Okay, bring on the action. But this is where things start to feel a little scary for me, to be honest. I'm a planner by nature, but taking those first steps, stepping outside my comfort zone, that can be tough.
I think it's natural to feel that way. Stepping outside of our comfort zones usually means dealing with some fear, some uncertainty. We're kind of wired to seek safety and what's familiar, even if it means staying stuck sometimes.
Yeah, there's that saying, better the devil you know than the devil you don't.
But here's the thing. If you want to grow, if you want to transform, you have to step outside of that comfort zone. It's where we challenge ourselves, where we discover our strengths, and ultimately where we unlock our full potential.
Okay, I get that.
Yeah.
But how do we push past that fear then and take action, especially when our goals seem really big, really ambitious?
That's where strategies like the 10X rule can be helpful. But just to be clear, the 10X rule is not about being reckless or taking on more than you can handle.
So you're not saying I should suddenly decide to run 10 marathons when I haven't even run a 5K?
No, not at all. It's more about shifting your mindset. It's about aiming higher than what feels comfortable, challenging those limitations we put on ourselves.
Okay, I'm intrigued. So how does this 10X thinking actually work?
So let's go back to your bakery example, right? Instead of aiming for a small start, the 10X rule would say, think bigger. What about opening multiple locations? Developing your own line of baking mixes, maybe even writing a cookbook.
Wow, that does sound ambitious, I'll give you that.
But it's also motivating, isn't it? It pushes you to think more creatively, to take bolder action.
Yeah, I can see that.
Hmm.
But what happens when we take those actions and things don't go as planned? What about failure? I mean, it's bound to happen, right?
You're right. Failure is a part of the process. And that's a conversation for next time, because learning to embrace failure, not fear it, is a crucial part of unlocking your potential.
Ooh, a cliffhanger. All right, well, I'm definitely coming back for part 2 then. Okay, so last time We were talking about getting out of our comfort zones, taking action. But we left off with a bit of a cliffhanger, didn't we? What about when things don't go right? What about failure?
Ah, yes. Failure. It's something we all experience, but it's almost like we're not supposed to talk about it.
Right, it's like this big taboo topic.
Yeah.
But how can we possibly get anywhere without, messing up sometimes?
Exactly. What if instead of seeing failure as this opposite of success, we saw it as a stepping stone, as part of the process?
Okay. I mean, it's hard to see the positive side when you're feeling discouraged. How can failure actually be like a good thing?
It's all about how we look at it, how we frame it. Instead of saying, I failed, what if we said, okay, that didn't work. What can I learn from it?
So like every time something doesn't go our way,
Oh.
it's an opportunity to figure out how to do better next time.
Exactly. I mean, think about it. Every successful person you can think of, they've all faced setbacks. They've all had things that didn't work out. And those experiences are part of what shaped them, what helped them become resilient.
Makes sense. I guess it's like that saying, you can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs.
And sometimes those broken eggs lead to even more delicious creations, right? But it's not just about changing how we think about failure. It's also about discipline, about consistency. You got to be able to keep going, even when things get tough.
Yeah, discipline. That's a tough one for me. I'm all about the bursts of motivation, but staying committed over time, that's a whole other story.
Yeah, a lot of people feel that way. And I think it's important to understand the difference between motivation and discipline. Motivation, it's like the spark, right? It gets you going, but it can fade pretty quickly. Discipline, on the other hand, it's more like a steady flame. It's that commitment that keeps you going, even when you don't feel like it.
Okay, so how do we cultivate that steady flame then? Any tips for those of us who struggle with the consistency part?
One thing that can be helpful is to think of discipline as a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. It's about building those habits, those small actions that you do consistently, even when you don't want to.
So it's like going to the gym. You don't always feel like working out, but you know that if you stick with it, you'll see results.
Exactly. And just like with physical fitness, it takes time, it takes effort, it takes patience. And that's where visualization can be really powerful. It can help you stay motivated, stay focused.
Ooh, visualization. I love this. It's
Well,
like creating a movie in your mind, right? A movie of your goals, your dreams.
yeah. And the cool thing is there's actually science to back this up. When you visualize yourself achieving something, your brain starts creating these pathways, these neural connections that actually make it easier to achieve that thing in real life.
Wait, really? So it's not just some self-help gimmick?
Nope. There's a growing body of research that shows visualization can have a real impact on our performance, on our outcomes. Think about athletes who, mentally rehearse their routines before a competition. They're basically using visualization to prime their minds and bodies for success.
Wow, that's fascinating. So how can we use visualization to help us unlock our potential then?
It starts with getting clear on your goals, obviously, and then really picturing yourself achieving them. Use all of your senses. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel? Even smell or taste. The more real you can make it, the more powerful the effect will be.
So if my goal is to, I don't know, write a novel,
Mm-hmm.
I would picture myself holding that finished book in my hands. I'd imagine feeling the weight of it, maybe even smelling the ink.
Yeah, exactly. And you might even picture yourself at a book signing getting great feedback from readers. The key is to make those visualizations vivid, to really engage with them emotionally.
It's like creating this magnetic pull toward your goals.
It is. And speaking of things that can influence us, let's talk about our environment, the people we surround ourselves with, the things we expose ourselves to. That can have a huge impact on our success too.
Yeah, I've heard that. Like the company we keep can either lift us up or drag us down.
Absolutely. Think about it like the soil you plant a seed in, right? If the soil is rich and nourishing, the seed's more likely to grow. But if it's full of toxins, the seed might not even sprout.
So we're not just talking about our physical environment, but also like the people we hang out with, the conversations we have.
Exactly. If you're always around negative people, people who criticize your dreams, it's going to be really hard to stay motivated.
It's like trying to run a marathon with weights strapped to your ankles.
It is. So it's important to be mindful of who you're spending time with. Do they inspire you? Do they support your goals? Do they believe in you?
Those are great questions to ask. Surround yourself with people who are aligned with your values, who want to see you succeed.
And don't forget about the things you're consuming too. Books, podcasts, social media. Are they feeding your mind with positive, empowering messages? Or are they just adding to the noise and negativity?
Yeah, it's like choosing a healthy diet for your mind.
Exactly. And speaking of nourishing our minds and souls, let's talk about gratitude. It's something we often take for granted, but it can be incredibly powerful.
I'll admit, I'm not always the most grateful person. I tend to focus on what's wrong, what's missing. How can I shift that perspective?
It's actually pretty simple. Just start by taking a few minutes each day to acknowledge the things you're grateful for. It could be big things like your health or your loved ones, or it could be small things like a sunny day or a delicious cup of coffee.
Okay, I could do that.
Oh, cool.
But how does gratitude help us unlock our potential?
Well, when you focus on what you're grateful for, it shifts your attention away from what you lack. It helps you appreciate the abundance that's already present in your life. And when you feel that sense of abundance, it creates a more positive, optimistic outlook.
And when you're feeling positive and optimistic, you're more likely to take action, to pursue your goals, right?
Exactly. Gratitude is like this fuel that helps us stay motivated even when things are tough. It's like a secret weapon for success. But gratitude alone isn't enough. We also need to take some time to look inward, to reflect on our journey so far. And that's where self-reflection comes in. And that's a topic for our next conversation.
Another cliffhanger. Well, I'm looking forward to it. In the meantime, I'm going to start practicing some gratitude. Welcome back to our deep dive. Last time we left off talking about gratitude, but now it's time to shift gears a bit and go a little deeper. We're talking self-reflection.
Yeah, self-reflection. It's like taking a step back from the hustle and bustle of life and just, checking in with yourself.
It's funny, a lot of people, they actually avoid self-reflection, don't they? I think it could be kind of uncomfortable.
It's true. It forces you to be honest with yourself, to confront those parts of yourself that maybe you don't like so much.
Right. But I guess that's kind of the point, isn't it? To get to know yourself, the good and the bad.
Exactly. Self-reflection requires honesty, but it also requires compassion. You have to be kind to yourself, even when you're facing those less than perfect parts.
So it's not about beating yourself up over past mistakes.
No, not at all. It's more about being curious.
Yeah.
Asking yourself questions like, what's working in my life? What could be better? What are those patterns that keep tripping me up?
It's like having a conversation with yourself, right? Trying to figure out your motivations, your fears.
Exactly. And through that self-discovery, you can gain some really valuable insights that can help you make, positive changes.
So how do we actually make self-reflection a regular practice? I mean, life gets busy. It's easy to let it slip.
It doesn't have to be this big, complicated thing. Even just 5-10 minutes a day can make a difference. Maybe it's journaling in the morning or taking a walk and just thinking about your day.
Yeah, finding what works for you.
Exactly. The key is consistency. The more you do it, the more self-aware you become. And that can really help you navigate, all the challenges that life throws at you.
So, okay, we've done the self-reflection. We've gained some insights. What's next?
Now, the exciting part, putting those insights into action. This is where you start making changes. Changes that align with that vision of your best self.
But change can be scary, can't it? Even when it's a good change.
Oh, absolutely. It takes us out of our comfort zones, and that can feel, uncomfortable.
Right. It's like that saying, if you're not growing, you're dying.
And embracing change, it's all about adaptability, isn't it? Being flexible, open to new possibilities.
So it's not about having everything figured out perfectly. It's about being willing to adjust, to go with the flow.
Yeah, think of it like navigating a river, right? There's going to be twists and turns, unexpected obstacles. You got to be able to adapt.
But what about when those changes are really tough? Like when we hit setbacks or even failures?
Well, that's where resilience comes in. Resilience is that ability to bounce back from adversity, to learn from your mistakes.
Like a superpower, almost. How do we build that kind of resilience?
I think it starts with self-compassion. When things go wrong, it's easy to beat yourself up. But resilient people, they treat themselves with kindness. They acknowledge those difficult feelings, but they don't let those feelings define them.
So it's about giving yourself a pep talk instead of a put down.
Exactly. It's about remembering that you're human, that everyone makes mistakes, and that those setbacks are just, part of the learning process.
And it's important to have support too, right? People you can turn to.
Absolutely. Having a strong support system, people who believe in you, it makes a huge difference.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. Defining our potential, setting goals, taking action, embracing failure, discipline, visualization, environment, gratitude, self-reflection, change. resilience.
It's quite a journey, isn't it? But the thing is, it's not about mastering all of these things perfectly. It's about progress, not perfection.
It's about showing up every day, ready to learn, ready to grow.
Exactly. And I think that's a really important takeaway. It's about celebrating the journey, all the ups and downs, because it's in that journey that we discover who we really are and what we're truly capable of.
Well said. This has been an amazing conversation. Thank you so much for sharing your insights.
It's been my pleasure.
And to everyone listening, remember, you have everything you need within you to achieve amazing things. Believe in yourself, embrace the journey, and never stop exploring that incredible potential that's inside of you. That's it for our deep dive this time. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep unlocking your potential. We'll see you on the next deep dive.